Welcome to the Mastering Mindset Podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Matt. Today, we're going to talk about productivity and retention. So in this new year, I know there are a lot of goals, a lot of ambitious pursuits, and part of this is being productive as possible. Now, I'm going to show you a method that I use, that I teach my clients, and it's very effective in terms of productivity and increasing your productivity. It's called the Pomodoro Method. You may have heard of it, but let me explain why it actually works. So the Pomodoro Method is basically you set a timer before you do any task. Let's say you're about to read a book. Before you even open up the book, go ahead and open your phone and set a timer for 25 minutes. And you just set a timer for 25 minutes and start that time. And as soon as you start it, you engage with your book and you just focus and dedicate your attention within those 25 minutes solely on reading that book. And then as soon as the alarm goes off, you take a break for 5 minutes. You give yourself, you stretch, you maybe stand up and do some breathing or roll your shoulders. You just give yourself a break for 5 minutes. And then you start again. You set another 25-minute timer, and then you continue. And this way, it chunks up your focus. It chunks up your retention. And here's why it's so effective and why it works. In psychology, there's something called the primary and recency effect. The primary recency effect, you'll see it take place in concerts or big shows. For example, let's say you go to a concert and it's a really well-known artist. Typically, they start with their most popular song or a very strong, familiar song. And then they have a very familiar, popular song as their closer, as their encore song. And the reason why this happens and the way it's set up this way is because we often remember what happens in the beginning and what happens at the end. We typically forget what happens in the middle. So the primary effect is what we remember what happens in the beginning. And at the end, we remember the recency effect. We remember what happens in the end. So whatever you're trying to learn, whatever you're trying to be productive in, why we chunk it in 25-minute blocks is you're going to create more segments of remembering and having more profound retention with this learning process. So if you chunk your task, whatever it might be doing, and you just dedicate 25 minutes into it and set a timer, then you'll have more primary and recency effects in that learning session. Or if you're reading, if you're writing, if you're working on a project, whatever it might be. So try this out, the Pomodoro Method. Set a timer for 25 minutes before a task, and then engage in that 100% for 25 minutes straight. And then as soon as the timer goes off, take a 5-minute break, stretch, just reconvene, whatever you want to do for 5 minutes, and then set the timer again for 25 minutes and continue. So I would even recommend setting a timer for that 5-minute break too. So having 25 minutes, set a timer, 5 minutes, 25 minutes, 5 minutes, and so on and so forth. So that is the Pomodoro Method, and this will significantly increase your productivity and your retention for this year. Good luck.